Winnie Sealer.
Very good afternoon and welcome to the 90th edition of Vogan European Outlook. As per usual, we appear to have a little bit of feedback. I apologise for that. A very warm welcome to you live here from Mark Vogan Weather HQ in Everton, Roshar. It is a rather grey day out there and no sunshine to speak about. This time last week, I was enjoying 25 Celsius, unbroken, clear blue skies, and yeah, it certainly was the life, I must admit. So back to the grind once again, but I'm excited to be back here on the channel for the 90th edition of the Global Weather and Climate Report. How's everybody doing this afternoon on this Sunday afternoon? Are you having a nice day, a nice weekend, a nice bank holiday weekend as well? And I'm fortunate enough to get the benefit of the bank holidays with the current company I'm working with. So, looking forward to a nice relaxing day off tomorrow. In fact, I've actually been invited to a barbecue with one of my colleagues tomorrow afternoon. So, hopefully, the rain showers will stay away and we can enjoy the benefits of some barbecue and some nice grub and company. So, very warm welcome to everybody this afternoon. We've got Paul James, we've got Katrine, we've got Paul Amos. I believe we may have Mark Kinnish in the house this afternoon as well. A very warm welcome to everybody. Very warm welcome to Pierre from Quebec in Canada. Thank you very much, Pierre, for joining the live stream this afternoon. My friend, hope you enjoy this afternoon's content and hope everybody else enjoys the content this afternoon as well. We're on 14 concurrent viewers at the moment here. Can you be sure to hit that like button? Let YouTube know that you're enjoying the content. And also, if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button as well. I would greatly appreciate it. I think I'm sitting on 6,068 subs on the channel. And believe it or not, it is happy birthday to Mark Vogan Weather on YouTube. I got a notification there from YouTube to say that the channel was created back on the 5th of May, back in 2010. So that's 14 years of the YouTube channel here. So quite a special day actually when you think about it. So it is the channel's birthday and I'm delighted to be doing a live stream this afternoon for the birthday as well. So it's a bit of a fluke in fact that it happens to fall on the day that the channel was created 14 years ago. Can everybody hear me? I hope I'm clear. I do know that there has been a couple of mentions in recent times about the microphone needing turned up. Anytime I've played the video back, I've never really had much of an issue, I must admit. But let me know anyway. Coming up this week, we'll be looking at the latest run of the long-range models with regards to the summer of 2024, which is rapidly approaching. And I will have my final thoughts in what will be a live stream at 4 p.m. on Sunday, the 26th of this month. So 26th of May, there will be a live stream, and that summer forecast will be officially released on that live stream on the Sunday afternoon. So I'm delighted to say that the all important collective thoughts for the upcoming summer will be released, and we can discuss that here on the channel. Thanks to Lindsay, by the way, for moderating this afternoon's live stream as well. A very warm welcome to Jim Bob. Welcome to Steffi Adcock as well. Thanks, Steffi and Jim Bob, for tuning in this afternoon. What's the weather conditions like where you are? We have got Paul James saying cloudy here with occasional drizzle. It's down in Hampshire. You're in Paul James, isn't it? We've got. Let me see here now. Just bear with me a little second here. Lovely sunny afternoon. Cloud building from the mountains from the southeast, says Paul. So make the most of the sunshine, my friend. I think we do have higher pressure building in. It's going to be a slow process, but we are going to see settled conditions. Hopefully, or drier conditions, not completely dry, but drier conditions in the coming week to come here. It's going to be a slow process, but high pressure should start to build in, which should start to settle things down. And I've said for quite a while now, is this going to be a chance to see something drier in the longer term and break this long standing wet rut that we've been in for the past several months? Or is it a case of it's just a blip and we maintain this wetter than average theme? That is going to be the big question, and that is going to hopefully be where the it'll be that question will hopefully be answered in the summer forecast coming up at the very end of this month. So if you're just joining me, warm welcome to the live stream 90th edition of the Global Weather Report. We're going to be honing in on the flood events that we've seen in parts of southeastern China, southern Brazil, Texas, and the United States. Tremendous amounts of rainfall over recent days here as well. Remember, we've got record breaking amounts of water vapor within many areas of the global atmosphere. The UAH temperature has reached a new record high. That is the satellite measurement of the lower troposphere. It has significantly shot up beyond levels that we've seen since the evolution of satellite measurements back in 1979. So quite a significant benchmark in terms of tropospheric temperature. We'll look at that in a little bit more detail here. 18 Celsius and cloudy in Lac de Saint Jean in Quebec. That is probably not the right pronunciation, Pierre, but I've given it a little go anyway. It's always a little bit risky, especially in a live stream. You can very easily make a fool of yourself here. But we've had some chilly-ish late season snow and cold, I think, in parts of Quebec in recent times. We've also seen record-breaking hot conditions in the eastern portions of Canada as well. We've got Knox also from Canada tuning in. Hello, Knox. Whereabouts in Canada are you tuning in from? A very warm welcome to you, and hope you're having a very pleasant weekend so far. Have I missed anybody with regards to a shout out? Katrine, how are you getting on? I know you check in most Sundays when I do a live stream, so I do greatly appreciate everybody's kind support in helping grow the channel and also essentially keeping the channel going, because if it didn't have the views, if it didn't have the subscribers, there would really be no point in continuing with these videos. So your support is keeping this channel alive, and I'm continuing to strive to provide a better product overall. There's still a long way to go in terms of an excellent product. Sorry. Lindsay just told me there that a little correction. I do apologise for that, but sometimes I do need a little bit of guidance. Hello from Croatia. I do apologise, Knox. So not Canada. Bit of a difference there, but a very warm welcome to you. What's the weather conditions like down in Croatia? At least you're laughing at it. You need to have a laugh, don't you? Sometimes. Katrine saying, Mark, it's quite dreak here in Thurrock. I think there's been quite a lot of cloud cover in recent times. Obviously, we've seen the heavy rainfall. We've seen that frontal system with a large bank of cloud draped really across anywhere from kind of Kent, the Greater London area, up through the South Midlands, mainly the south portions of the UK, really into South Wales. To the south and southwest of that boundary, we've seen some fairly cold temperatures. To the north of the boundary, we've seen very pleasant temperatures, anywhere from Suffolk and Norfolk all the way through the Midlands and up into Lancashire. We've seen temperatures in recent days 18 to 22, even locally 23 Celsius. A few spots in the West Highlands, 22, 23 Celsius. But obviously, in exposure of that wind coming in off the North Sea, it has felt distinctly chilly, 8, 9, 10 Celsius at best. So definitely there's been big variations in temperature across not only the UK, but also across Ireland. Cork, for example, Waterford, Shannon, we've seen temperatures stuck in mid to high single figures, whereas up across the northern portions of the Republic and indeed in the Northern Ireland, we've seen temperatures into the upper teens. So big variations in temperature depending on wind, cloud cover, sunshine. It's not been across the board warm conditions by any stretch, nor has it been particularly chilly either. So Knox says that his name is actually Mark. So you know, you can't beat having the same name, my friend. So thanks for tuning in, Mark, this afternoon from Croatia. He also says you're an incredible forecaster. Well, I try my best, Mark. I do my best in terms of forecasting. Don't always get it right, but I think if you can get a fair balance between incorrect and correct, you're not doing too bad. So yeah, certainly the April forecast played out not too bad. I did forecast a slightly warmer and wetter than average April. It was the sixth UK's wettest April on record. Records going back to the 1800s. It was marginally warmer than average. I think I slightly underestimated the level of chill during the second half of April. That really took a dent out of the warm anomaly that we had through the first 12 to 15 days or so of the month. But it was fractionally warmer than average. Parts of the north was actually below average, parts of the south was above average, so it averages out. I think it was around 0.4 Celsius above average here. So yeah, and a very wet April overall. So we'll stick with the live chat for just another few minutes here. We're at 20 concurrent viewers at the moment. Can you hit that like button? Let YouTube know that you're enjoying the content. It helps the algorithm of the channel, and I do greatly appreciate your support. And if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button. Weather Talk, the new series, was released away back last Saturday. Gavin Partridge of Gav's Weather Vids was the first up with the interviews, a new series of video interviews. I'm delighted to say that there is another three folk, in fact, that are lined up. Now, I don't have an exact day of the next interview release, but we are going to be talking about interesting things such as space weather, the connection between solar activity and Earth's atmosphere and weather influence here. So I'm delighted to say I do have an expert talking about solar cycles, the connection with the atmosphere, our atmosphere, and that will be released at some point, possibly next weekend. But I don't have a definitive on that, I'm afraid. So just bear with me. But I have got more people lined up, and I'm delighted to say that I'm looking forward to sharing that with time, so you can check that out when it becomes available here. So Sunday the 26th of May, that will be the release date of the summer of 2024 forecast. It will be released on the live stream that Sunday afternoon, which I'm delighted to say, and we can actually discuss that forecast. So you can put me on the spot and let me know what you think of the overall ideas. Bob, Northern Ireland was actually sunny for 10 minutes today. Then it's been cloudy all day and 15 Celsius. So yeah, a lot of cloud cover, I think, across many areas of the UK. We're seeing gyms. So yeah, hopefully we can start to see things improving in the coming days to come, and we can even see some drier conditions also. So let's get right into it. I want to first and foremost talk about the MJO, because the Mann-Julian oscillation, something that hasn't been mentioned in recent times, but we have got a relatively strong phase 4 5. We're right at the junction between 4 and 5, so that is enhanced convection within the tropics over the maritime continent. Where's the maritime continent? It's over Indonesia, so between northern Australia and southeastern Asia. That's the maritime continent, and when you've got enhanced thunderstorm activity within this region of the tropics, you tend to have a warmer pattern in the eastern United States and Western Europe. And this, by the way, is exactly what we have to expect. So this is the MJO. It's away from the null phase. It's in phases 4 and 5, which means that this tends to correlate to a positive Arctic oscillation. As you can see here, we're going from negative into weekly positive territory. If we look at the NAO, you can see here that we have similar. We are going into weekly positive territory. What does this then support in the 500 millibar pattern. Well, you've got the negative over the North Atlantic extending into Greenland, with the positive over Western Europe and Eastern North America. So that's a warmer theme across the Eastern United States and across the UK, Ireland, and Western Europe here. So you've got that positive NAO AO signal here. That then promotes more than likely warmer than average temperatures. So if we look at the precipitation first off and see the anomalies, we have actually got wetter conditions across the eastern United States, but we've got drier conditions across the UK and indeed Ireland. Let's look at the Europe in particular. So you've got the slightly wetter than average conditions across the Highlands, if you notice. That is likely because of shower activity that develops a layer of cooler air in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, combined with strong incoming solar radiation that allows the atmosphere then to lift, cool, condense, and produce showers. Over the next several days, we're going to see that mechanism taking place. When you've got the daytime heat and kicks in, the atmosphere stirs up. It wants to rise, it wants to cool and condense into heavy showers and even local thunderstorms. So that is going to be the case through the course of the week. But largely, according to the GFS Extended, we have got drier than average conditions across the UK and indeed Ireland. Wetter conditions across France, Low Countries, Central and Southern Germany, as per the model here. We play through the loop here, and you can see that we enhance the drier than average theme. So this goes with the May forecast. What's the May forecast? Slightly warmer than average, but also drier than average. And we have not seen that, I think, since back in January. I think we had slightly drier than average conditions, if I'm right in saying. We've not seen that since. And that January of slightly drier, hope I've got the right month, was actually a blip in what has been a predominantly wet pattern through autumn, through winter, and now through at least the first half. In fact, we've actually seen a wet March, April, and even slightly, arguably, beginning of May as well. The question is, what's going to happen June, July, and August? Do we see a break? Do we see back and forth between warm, wet, dry, cool? I think we're going to have a mixed summer this year, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think it's going to be a clear cut one. That's just a hint of some of my thinking as we go forward here. Very warm welcome to Jason. Warm welcome to David. Hope everybody is well wherever you are. Yeah. Good afternoon, Mark. How is next week looking? Well, Jason, as I've just been saying, looks as if we're going to start to see higher pressure gradually build in over the UK and Ireland here. Position that high depends on cloud cover, breeze, and ultimately the feel of the air. But generally speaking, I think we're going to start to see a drier theme develop, hopefully, especially in the combination of that MJO in phases 4 and 5. That tends to correlate to a ridge over Europe, Western Europe, but a negative over the North Atlantic and up into Greenland. That tends to favour, like in winter, in the spring and summer, tends to lead to warmer than average temperatures overall. So that is how we're looking here. So the dry theme looks to be the case as we progress through a decent portion of May. Now, there is a possibility that we actually start to see heights coming up across Spain and Portugal. So as you build higher pressure to the south over Spain and Portugal, northwestern Africa, you tend to see the Atlantic returning to the UK and Ireland here. So we may actually see a bit of a breakdown over the next 10 to 15 days to something a little bit more mobile once again. But if you've got the block over the UK and Ireland, that tends to shut down the Atlantic and keep things rather stable, drier, and fairly consistent. Remember, we've also had, I believe, the stratospheric warming that may also have an influence in slowing down the overall westerly flow here, less mobility within the upper levels of the atmosphere, so we tend to have a more persistent type of pattern, whether it be high pressure or low pressure, as the atmosphere from above kind of starts to become more blocked. You tend to find slower moving weather systems. And remember, the month of May is generally the weakest time of the year for the jet stream also, so it can actually be quite hard to pinpoint types of weather overall as we go into the late spring and early summer season here. So hello to Sweet as well. I don't think I've said hello to you, my friend, just yet. We've got 25 concurrent viewers so far. As I've already said, hit that like button, share with your friends and family, and if you haven't already done so, I'm sitting on 6,068 subscribers. Help me get past 6,070 subscribers. I would greatly appreciate that. Summer forecast will be released at the end of this month, and it will be released on the Sunday, the 26th of May live stream. So I'm delighted to say that is coming up. So anyway, let's move on. How's the global temperature average looking for the first 5 days of May? So we're going to quickly kind of rattle through this because it's very easy for time to roll on. Tend to stick to about 45 minutes. It may run on slightly in today's stream here. So this is how the first 5 days of the month are looking here. Let's quickly recap of April. How was April? So we had quite a warm overall Europe. As you can see, cooler than average across Scandinavia here. A bit of a mix and match across Africa, warmer than average versus colder than average in areas. Really, Australia stands out. I think this is one of the top 10 coldest Aprils on record for Australia. If I'm right in saying that, here the majority of North America was warmer than average. Greenland was warmer than average as well. We had quite a lot of negative Arctic oscillation, North Atlantic oscillation during the month of April. We've had quite a warm overall April through anywhere from Cape Verde up through the Canaries, Azores, Spain and Portugal here, ongoing drought in eastern Spain. And we had a slightly below average UK to the north versus to the south here. So this is looking back at April here. Overall warmer than average with the exceptions of northern UK and Scandinavia. This is the first 5 days of the month. Look at how cold northern Russia is through the first 5 days of the month. Now these colours do tend to be a little bit more prominent, but as the month goes on you tend to wash it out a little bit. It becomes a little bit less distinct in terms of the colder versus the warmer than average here, but certainly through the first 5 days of the month, the bullseye of warmer compared to average is actually the Western Highlands, as you can see. Very warm across parts of Norway, much of Norway, in fact, all of Norway, I think, was warmer than average. In Sweden, central and southern areas was warmer than average through the first 5 days, slightly below average further north. Also across Finland, same idea. The core of warmest conditions across Europe has been across Germany, Poland, into the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and those areas. France, Iberia, Italy, Corsica, Sardinia, below average conditions through the first half first 5 days of May. So this is Australia. We've got below average conditions across central, southern areas of Australia here, warmer than average across Western Australia, as you can see here. Northern Territories, parts of Queensland has been warmer than average through the first half of the month. Look at Asia. Now we're going to look at the flood situation in just a second, but there's a lot of areas below average, if you notice here, through the first 5 days. Many areas colder than average across northern India, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Iraq. A little bit of a geography test going on here. Western portions of Russia below average, but we do have areas of above average. For example, we've got a split across Kazakhstan, north cold, south warm. We've got Mongolia warmer than average. The far north of China, we've seen some very extreme flooding in Guangdong, I think it is, and just north of Hong Kong, I think that area is. We've seen some tremendous amounts of rainfall, and we'll look at the video in just a second. But much of China is actually below average. Southeast Asia continues to cook in remarkable heat that has been ongoing. So anyway, let's move on. Look at North America real quick here. We've got fairly warm conditions across the United States in the east, cold than average across the northern plains, northwestern portions of the United States here. Southwestern Canada, quite a lot of cold here, especially across southern Saskatchewan, Manitoba here, and Alberta. We've got a core of below average conditions here, where we've seen heavy snowfall. Pierre in Quebec, you've been seeing a fairly warm start to the month across southern Quebec here. Much of the province, in fact, has been warmer than average. Ontario, a bit split, warm east versus colder west. But we'll see as the month progresses how these temperature anomalies go. Finally, looking at South America for the first 5 days of the month here, we've got very warm conditions across much of northern and central South America. Down into Argentina and Chile, we've got actually quite a cold start to the month of May. The UAH temperature, this has been pretty remarkable stuff here. So this is a Dr. Roy Spencer's site here, and this is the satellite measurement of the lower troposphere. And really, generally, what happens is in recent years and even recent decades, every time we see a super El Nino, you see the global atmosphere warm up. There's like a new step up from the previous. So 98, 97, 98, we reached a new benchmark. Then in 2015-16, we reached a new benchmark still. And it looks as if we're seeing another new benchmark develop here. I think the last time the globe was actually below average was November of 2011. That's the last time that we had a global month below average. I think that is in right in what I'm saying here. But the warming of the oceans, the release of added moisture into the atmosphere as well, that tends to have a feedback mechanism to trap heat. Don't want to necessarily go down the global warming argument just yet, to be honest with you, because that is a whole argument of in itself here. But certainly we are continuing to see a rise in both sea surface temperatures and the atmosphere, and consequently the land areas as well. But this is a what has been said. The version 6 global average lower tropospheric temperature anomaly for April 2024 was plus 1.05 degrees above the departure from the 91 to 2020 mean, up from March 2024 anomaly of 0.95 degrees Celsius, and setting a new high for the monthly anomaly record. And this is the database between 1979 and 2024. So let's look at that in a little bit more detail here. So you can see that step up process going on here. We've seen the 97, 98 surge in the global temperature rise. Then we've seen a drop off. Then we've seen a leveling off. There's that period between 2009, 2011 here, solar minimum era as well. We had a strong La Nina developing after a moderate Madoki El Nino in 2009-10. We've seen the global average temperature kind of drop, rise, fall once again, and really ever since that, we've flirted with the zero line a couple of times. But you notice here that the steady increase has been a kind of leveling off. But look at this rise here in particular during March and particularly April, a very notable rise in the lower tropospheric temperature here. Let me know in the comment section below what you think here. I've got my own thoughts about it. I will keep them to myself for now, because that will start a possible debate, which I don't necessarily want to do. I want to try and keep it as level as possible, and it means that everybody's entitled to their opinion with regards to what's going on at the moment here. Very good afternoon to Richard Trott. Thanks very much, Richard, for tuning in to today's live stream, my friend. Hope you're well. Hope the family is well also. Afternoon, Mark Vogan. Hope you and Lindsay had a great time away. We certainly did. Thanks, Richard. Hope just home from work myself. Cloudy day here. Once more, third in a row, mild at 15.1 Celsius. Do you know, Richard, this is actually pretty much the first real cloudy day that my wife and I have experienced since getting back, because we had clear blue skies pretty much the entire time that we were in Morocco. Then we came back, and actually it was more or less sunny for the last few days. So we've been very, very fortunate in the amount of sunshine that we have seen. So uh, yeah, writing setting off road. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, we'll continue to crack on with the live stream. Like, share, and subscribe, as I've already said here. Plenty of reason to stick around. We're going to be looking at the summer of 2024 long-range models in the upcoming week. The all-important second interview of the Weather Talk series will be released hopefully the upcoming weekend. So next weekend we're going to have that back. I'm hopeful of anyway, but we will wait and see what takes place with regards to that. And anyway, big floods, southern Brazil. The Rio
Video out of Brazil has shown mass devastation from its worst
Brazil.
flooding in decades.
Let's check this out.
Including this moment when a ferry was destroyed after colliding with a bridge. Brazil's southern state of Rio Grande do Sul has endured continuous rainfall since April 29th, causing rivers to break their banks and at least one dam to burst. A state of calamity was declared and the military was deployed to help rescue people, many of whom had to bust through their roofs to escape the rising water. As of May 4th, at least 56 people had been killed by the floods, with tens of thousands displaced, and officials warned that the situation would get worse. The severe weather is being blamed on extreme heat, high humidity, and strong winds combined with El Niño and the effects of climate change. The local governor said the current event will be the biggest climate disaster our state has ever faced.
Don't know how clear that was to hear, but certainly some of the biggest floods in recent decades for this region, Rio Grande do Sul in southern Brazil, in the last. So basically, it's rained almost non-stop from the 29th of April through to the 4th or the 5th of May. So catastrophic situation going on down in southern Brazil. We've seen tremendous amounts of rainfall, obviously, and catastrophic results of that significant rainfall here. So that is southern Brazil. And if we move on to the Houston area, this is the reports coming out of Southeast Texas, Livingston, the greater Houston area as well.
100 homes are being impacted. Now, the damage assessments have not been made according to authorities. That might start on Monday. That, of course, is if the water starts to recede. But the message to everyone in those evacuation zones is the following from authorities. Get out. They are asking individuals to please go to safety, to higher ground, because there is more rain expected overnight and through the weekend. Just to put this into perspective, Harris County, Texas is one of the biggest counties in the country. And according to authorities at this point, they estimate that several hundred homes are being impacted. Now, the damage assessments have not been made according to authorities. That might start on Monday. That, of course, is if the water starts to recede. But the message to everyone in those evacuation zones is the following from authorities. Get out. They are asking individuals to please go to safety, to higher ground, because there is more rain expected overnight and through the weekend. Just to put this into perspective.
So that is the case going on at this moment in time in parts of southeastern Texas. Collision of weather systems, tremendous blow up of thunderstorms. There has also been a significant rise in severe weather, which is quite often the case at this time of the year. Very active time across the central plain states of America when you've got especially warmer, juicy, humider to the east, colder, drier air, and a weather system in between sending a frontal boundary east-southeast. You tend to see these lines of thunderstorms rattle across a given area, and that is exactly what we've been seeing. So tremendous flooding across this region of the world. Now, this area is not immune to seeing historic floods, whether it be from tropical cyclones or indeed weather systems that collide and develop these storms. It is quite often an extreme part of the world in terms of weather. And at the moment, we've got a heck of a lot going on in this region of the country. Now, we've also seen tremendous flooding in parts of southeastern China as well. Historic flooding and there has been lives lost. We've also seen record-breaking heat. We've also seen deaths, large hail, basically about that size there. That's not a great measurement, is it? But you get the overall idea going on in parts of China. So collisions of extreme heat versus extreme cold, blizzard conditions in the far north of the country, coming up against 42, 43 Celsius there. You get these huge storms blowing up in between the fight zone between the two air masses itself. So rattling on, let's have a quick look at Thierry Goose's latest tweets. Tremendous amounts of warmth in parts of Canada. He put a tweet out 14 hours ago saying 25.8 Celsius at Bella Coola today. That was yesterday. New highest temperature of 2024 in British Columbia, exceeding the 25.7 at Lytton on May 6th or May 3rd, because we've not reached May 6th just yet. So let's continue to rattle through here and see some of his tweets in the last few days here. 27.7 at Sarnia in Ontario yesterday. New highest temperature in Canada. That was back on the 1st of May, I believe that was. It does say that a correction, new highest temperature of 2024 in Canada is 28.0 in Windsor, Riverside, Ontario on the 27th of April. So Canada's highest temperature was actually back on the 27th of April. So El Nino, very, very warm sea surface temperatures, record amounts of water vapor within the atmosphere. Probably some of the reasons, the amount of water vapor released by those warm waters, probably one of the reasons why I've seen such a wet pattern in combination with the El Nino here in the UK and Ireland here. Look at this here in Vietnam, some of the all-time April records being achieved, national records being achieved at that across parts of southeastern Asia. The heat has been remarkable in this part of the world in not just recent weeks, but even recent months. Minimum temperatures as high as 32 Celsius, so not getting any lower than 32 Celsius, and that is the highest temperature ever recorded for a minimum in Laos, southeastern Asia. So remarkable stuff indeed. Philippines in the Western Pacific also seeing all-time record daytime maximums, nighttime minimums as well here. So yeah, the southeastern portions of Asia has certainly been cooking in recent times. We've had a lot of higher pressure, sinking air in this region of the world. That's probably been helping heat the water temperatures that are typically warm anyway to even warmer levels. That's releasing more moisture into the atmosphere. We're seeing tremendous amounts of humidity. So Bangkok, for example, 45 Celsius, minimum temperatures 32 degrees. Factor in the humidity versus a 40 degrees Celsius day. You've got real field temperatures 50 or 55 Celsius, which are deadly combinations of heat and humidity. So let's just see if there's anything else, and then we will close off because we are approaching the 45-minute mark on today's video. So I hope you're enjoying the content. We've got 29 concurrent viewers at this moment in time. Just trying to see if I've missed anything that is particularly of note. Yeah, hope you're enjoying your weekend. This was a tremendous video as well out of Shepherd, Texas, by the way.
Get out!
Incredible video.
Get
actually.
out!
So this truck veered off the road into a creek. Because of the floodwaters, you can't tell what's tarmac and what is the creek. And this particular shaft got into some really difficult reaction. Life-threatening situation. And this just shows you how dangerous it can be. The turnaround, don't drown, saying doesn't come truer with a scene like that. This is also an amazing video out of that southern Brazil flood situation here. Very, very scary stuff. Let's play that back just a second. Imagine.
Awesome.
Scary stuff, I must admit. Let me see here. Have we got any information out of Guangzhou? So this is actually a tweet here by Risk Management. Heavy rainfall, Rio Grande do Sul, probably not the best pronunciation. Southern Brazil, over 500 millimeters of rain, or 19 plus inches in the past month, with more flooding expected. 17% corn and 40% soybeans at risk. 1 and 8 MMTs respectively. So 23-24 Brazilian soybean crop. So this is obviously affecting the global economy as well. By the way, the floods in Guangdong, just outside the north side of Hong Kong, that is one of China's biggest economic powerhouses. And what that will do is that will probably have influence on trade and even some of the stuff that is produced in that region as well. That sends the prices globally up, and export prices, etc., etc. This is more video coming out of Brazil. This is the Guangdong view, by the way. So yeah, very very interesting stuff. Richard Trott actually reminded me there about the Ruang volcanic eruption. Now we obviously seen it back in April. We've seen more big explosions going off in the Ruang volcano in Indonesia. So that's the Sulawesi area of northern Indonesia. Very very large archipelago of islands stretching 15,000 plus islands. It's a very vast area, but this is one of the most active areas on the planet with regards to earthquakes and volcanoes. Now we've seen this ongoing eruption going on in the on Ruang volcano. It'll be interesting to see if this has any kind of influence on the atmosphere. Now I've said already, and I know there is competing arguments against this, but the Hunga Tonga volcanic eruption back in January, I think it was 2022 that happened, and we've seen more moisture within the atmosphere. I know some folks have said that the release in water vapor has remained more in the southern hemisphere, so there may be influences of that eruption releasing more water vapor into the atmosphere. We've also got the El Nino, we've got the warm Atlantic. This is jacking up the levels of moisture within the atmosphere. We also have to take into consideration the solar maximum that we've got going at the moment is the combination of the very strong El Nino, the solar maximum, probably the strongest activity within the face of the sun, with the release of CMEs and solar flares, etc., releasing that energy towards our planet. Is that having a warming influence? Let me know in the comment section below, because I'm no expert when it comes to this kind of stuff. Lisa, Richard, Shryan Bruin, we've got Steffi Adcock. All these folks tend to probably know a lot more than what I do, but these are ideas that I have with regards to this, the record warm lower tropospheric temperature. I think it's a combination of so many different things. Water temperatures, El Nino, the Tonga Hunga volcanic eruption, and other aspects as well that are going on. There is a lot of things going on around the planet at the moment. There is also a lot of stuff being said about climate change as well. I try my very best to bring you unbiased opinion when it comes to what is going on around the planet. So, like I said, let me know in the comment section below. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I have my own ideas with regards to what's going on. I think the planet's seen it all before, if I'm being honest with you. But, who knows? Only time is going to tell with regards to what is taking place at the moment around the planet. So, a very, very big thank you to everybody who has taken the time out of their Sunday afternoon, their busy schedules, life is busy as it is, to listen to me waffling on for the last 45 or 50 or so minutes here. But plenty of things going on. I will have more ideas with regards to the updated version of the Atlantic hurricane season forecast. Summer forecast ideas will be getting talked about in the week ahead. We've got the second interview of the new series, Weather Talk, that will be released in the coming week or so as well. so stay tuned for that. And I've got a few reasonably big names coming up as well with regards to that series. I think you will be excited about who is going to be chatting with me in the coming weeks ahead. So like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekend, by the way, as well. Are you getting the benefit of time off, or do you have to work? I would be curious to know. And yeah, let's round things up. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon. All being well, I will have the live stream back next Sunday, so stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for all the content that I will have available on the channel this upcoming week. Thanks for watching, everybody, and do indeed enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye for now.